following this build series, then you probably already know that in the last episode, I was less than thrilled about the fit and finish that I got out of this super cheap vinyl with my really poor prep work. So we learned our lesson. We've pulled all the vinyl off. I'm going to sand everything down to where it's nice and smooth, at least smooth enough for the purpose, right? This isn't a Dodge Viper. It's a Harbor Freight trailer. And then we're going to cover it in a really thick coat of bright orange spray paint. I'm hoping that this turns out a lot better and a lot closer to what I see in my mind, but the only way to find out is to try. Can you tell that it's gloss in the camera? Oh, you can see just a little bit of a mirror finish. This turned out really good. Now, if we wanted it to look absolutely immaculate, we would wet sand this with 1000 grit sandpaper, and then we would throw a really heavy second coat on here and then throw some wax on it, and it would look like an automotive shop did it. It would look outstanding. So even though it's just Walmart spray paint, you can church it up pretty good. We know that's not necessary. This is going to start taking branches on its first trip, so there's no point making the paint look absolutely stunning when you're just going to destroy it right away. Plus, you would talk about putting lipstick on a pig. It's a Harbor Freight trailer, for crying out loud. I think our time is better invested in doing the wiring. So I've got a whole bunch of different parts and pieces I got off Amazon here. We're going to start cobbling things together, and I think I'm going to start with our 7-pin connection. Perfect world, I'd like to have 2 junction boxes on this trailer. One that's going to be fused inside the trailer that's going to fuse each light system individually, and then one on the outside that's going to make for an easy repair if I damage the baloney cord that's coming from the tow vehicle itself. Luckily, you can buy this generic junction box connected to a 7 or 8 foot baloney cord on Amazon, and that's exactly where I got this. This trailer is going to have onboard air and onboard water, so we're going to mount the pumps for both. The pump for the water system is a really inexpensive unit that I got on Amazon. It's low pressure, which is what I want because I don't want to just consume all of our water really quickly. So 45 PSI max, which is good. The flow is okay. It's not high, it's not low, it's kind of in between. And then with the compressors, I wanted something inexpensive, something that's really lightweight, because these compressors are a backup air source. For the most part, we're going to be using CO2 because it's just so much faster. But if the CO2 ever runs out, having a backup air source to me is an important thing to include on a trailer like this. But because we don't want to add a whole bunch of weight, we're just using some small, cost-effective, lightweight compressors as a plan B. I don't normally do this in the middle of a video, but we're on our way to pick up another trailer, and I know some of you watching are going to find this interesting. Completely the opposite type of trailer is what we're building in today's video, but instead of me telling you what it is, I'll just show you. With the growth of our YouTube channel over the last couple of years, we've also had a growth and opportunity to do cool stuff, and it makes it really complicated when I'm juggling all these shop projects to get invited to something like Ultimate Adventure, which I just can't say no to. It's a bucket list item for me. And so we just bought a 3-car trailer to try and take more advantage of these big trips that I'm doing and to make cooler content and to bring more vehicles with me, or in a case very soon, I'll be bringing a vehicle back with me that I'm buying. And this is all because of you guys watching these videos and supporting our channel. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for supporting us over these last couple years. And even though we're not at light bright level success, we're not buying Ferraris or anything, us buying a 44-foot beat up gooseneck trailer is a big milestone for us. So I'm really happy that you guys get to be here for this adventure and honored that you've taken an interest in watching me build stuff in the shop. Speaking of which, we've got to get this trailer back to my house, and we've got to continue on the Harbor Freight trailer because I am running out of time and I'm out buying stuff instead of working. You've already seen our secondary taillights and the rear door, but now I want to mount just a traditional set of primary taillights. And ideally, these would go on the fender, but I am not 100% committed to that yet. I'm going to size it up, I'm going to see how they fit on the fenders, and then maybe put some of the accessories on to see if they're even going to be able to fit on the fenders. In worst case scenario, we can fit them on either side of the winch, on the underside above the rear bumper. To make it easier for me to explain how this wiring is going to be set up, I decided to compartmentalize it for those of you that are new to 12-volt wiring. So this first section of wiring that we're going to do is just all the stuff to make it legal. We're just wiring in all the lights. So we've got a 7-pin connection that goes to a junction box. You already saw me install that. And the reason I wanted to do that is that if we damage that baloney cord on the trail, it's going to make it super easy to repair, because we just go to a local town and most auto parts stores will have a 7-pin connection with an 8-foot or a 10-foot pigtail on the back, and we don't even have to like get into the trailer. This junction box on the outside, it'll make for a super easy repair. Then we go from the junction box up into the kitchen area. Originally I was going to have a secondary fused junction box, but what I bought to do that with, I'm not going to be able to convert to make it work. So we're just going to abandon that idea altogether, and we're going to go from the kitchen area to all of our wiring. I've owned a lot of trailers. I've towed on and off road at night a ton of times, and I wanted to have some little indicator lights up on the corners of the trailer, because I have found that when you're towing at night and you're turning, it's nice to be able to see those lights up high like this to kind of index where the trailer is in your mind. So we've got 4 marker lights that'll come on whenever we turn the headlights on. And then in the back here, we've got just traditional trailer lights that are gonna, one side is gonna be left-hand turn, brake, running light, and our license plate light. The other side is right-hand turn, brake, and running light. And I decided to basically double up on these functions. So in the rear door, nice and high, we have 2 brake lights that also function as turn, and then we have 2 amber running lights that are gonna be in the middle. The reason I decided to do that is because I've had multiple times where especially owning old used trailers, where you'll be on your way home from a long trip and your right-hand turn and brake just stops working and you can't figure it out on the side of the highway, and it's frustrating. But if this primary light goes out on the upper door, people are still gonna be able to see that I'm trying to turn, because it's gonna be blinking, or they're gonna see that I'm trying to stop. So that's the reason that I decided to have a little bit of built-in redundancy here, is just for long-term use of the trailer and functionality, and to make it easier on future Nate. So anyway, right now what I want to do is wire up all this stuff for our lighting, and then we can get started on our spare battery and solar and all that other stuff. If you've never built a wire harness from scratch before and you don't want to get confused halfway through the process, I would recommend starting from your furthest fixture away from your input source. So the furthest light away from the 7-pin connection. And that's what I'm going to do here. We're going to start with all the lights on this rear door, and then we're going to mount the door, and then we're going to tie it into the tail lights and our running lights, and then we'll run everything forward, tie it into the kitchen, and we should be all good to go. Let's find out my intuition. I ran into a huge problem here, and I thought that I had it figured out. So the visual that you're seeing is me blaming the way the plug was wired, saying that it was clearly a mistake at the factory. But after doing a bunch more research, apparently there are two different primary ways that people will follow wiring a 7-pin connector. I've always used the color code that I described earlier in the video, and I even found on eTrailer's website someone asking about the color code, and the person at eTrailer giving them a color code that it represents exactly how I wired this trailer. But after doing a little more digging, I found out that there's a whole nother color code that people use, and I have no idea why that would be. You'd think that it would be one universal color code on the trailer side for this stuff, but apparently that's not the case. So I blamed the cheap Amazon parts for being put together incorrectly, but it turns out I'm just using a different color code than they did with this harness. If you have any more information about this, please let us know in the comments. Like if there is a name for each color code, that's something that I would love to be educated on moving forward, and I'm sure people watching this video would like to be educated on as well. The easiest way to fix this now is just to go to Walmart or an auto parts store, buy a generic 7-pin connector, and then fix the wiring at the 7-pin connector to match the wiring of the trailer. And then once I remedy this problem, I can finally move on to wiring up the rest of the system. I still have quite a bit of electrical that needs to be installed on this trailer, and I want to do the entire plumbing system before we hit the road, meaning I want to get the water system hooked up. We've got a water tank to mount. We've got, actually we have a little bit of welding to do, plastic welding to do on the water tank because the size needs to change a little bit. We've got the door trim to finish. We've got to paint the doors. We're going to do some touch-up paint here and there. We've got to mount nitrogen charged struts to hold the doors open. We've got the solar panel, the rooftop tent. There's still a ton of work that needs to be done on this trailer, but if you're looking at what I'm looking at, we are definitely looking at a finish line. And in the next episode, we will absolutely drag this trailer down the street and see how it performs on the highway. I really hope that you guys have been enjoying this series. I've had a ton of fun making it, and the end is near. We're finally going to get to see how it's going to do on the road, and then we're going to get to see how it's going to do off-road, and then we can talk about all the things we did right, all the things we did wrong, but we're going to be left with a pretty cool, one-of-a-kind, quote-unquote, budget trailer. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.